Spyros will firstly address the issue of how you enter into settlement agreements with state. And we've heard some things from the previous panel, but now Spyros is going to give us the perspective of the client or the lawyer that enters into a settlement with the state.
Yes. The whole problem, first of all, I would like to thank all of you for your participation, and thank you for having me here, of course, and it is a very nice organization as well. As an introduction, I would like to pose a question: how legal problems are solved? And legal problems are solved not by machines, of course, but by law. And by law, we mean a system of law. And this is not far from thinking in algorithm patterns, benchmarking, templates. And this has more to do with intelligence or artificial intelligence than we care to think about and we care to imagine. So, when this legal problem, which clinically or statically viewed can be solved by law, is turning into a dispute and it is brought before a court, then the parties envisage the chance to win or lose. So then we realize that law is exactly this body of prophecies of what the courts will do, as Oliver Wendell Holmes put it very wisely. And so I would like to vary the question posed by Mrs. Smith previously, because she asked, is there a right, a constitutional or supra-constitutional right of having a human being to resolve our dispute? There is no constitutional right like this, definitely not, because this question implies that the human being who is supposed to resolve dispute is not biased by law, because law, the patterns, the benchmarking, the formulas are biases for the judge. And there is no right to have your dispute resolved by a human layman, by a layman. You have to go to a judge, you have to go to someone who will resolve the dispute by law. So, this brings us to another question. Would any business care to enter into a potentially very expensive procedure of having its dispute resolved by a court by law in an unpredicted way, in a totally unpredictable way, if the business, and with business we mean the homo economicus, could kill the dispute by itself, not resolve, but kill it in the cradle? How? By settling it. This is the only way that you make the prophecy of what the court will do to a self-fulfilling prophecy. You kill it yourself and you know what's happening, you know the outcome, because you define it. This is an introduction that equals to a truism, one would say, because, yes, that's self-evident that anybody would do that, which is not true, as we all empirically can acknowledge and know. Why? That has to do with the misjudging of the chances of winning, of the success chances that happen to every disputing party. The dispute arises and leaves from any of the parties who is misjudging his chances of success. Nevertheless, theoretically, every civil procedure, every code, every law provides for the truism to happen, provides for ways of settling the dispute. And the law about the Legal Council of the State, which is, as mentioned before, the law number 4831 of the year 2021, has specific regulations and provisions how a dispute can be settled, a dispute against the state. And there are specific sections of the Legal Council of the State provided, who give their legal opinion on how a dispute could be settled. They are obliged to overview the case and give their opinion if there is a chance for the state to lose. And if that's the case, theoretically, they bring the case before a section of the Legal Council of the State or between a committee if the dispute is below 250,000 euros. It's a tripartite committee that decides and then who gives an opinion. And if the dispute is above 250,000 euros, you have to go to a section and have the legal opinion on how and if this dispute could be settled. The problem is that even if this committee decides in favor or opines in favor of a settlement, the state would refrain from fulfilling it because they fear that something will happen to them, which, by the way, has actually happened in many cases, as Professor Yiannopoulos pointed out in the previous panel. So we have a theoretical framework by which settlements could be made, but we don't see it in practice.